intellectual property rights area. During this tenure, he served various organizations like Ranbaxy, Wockhardt, and Glenmark Pharmaceuticals. MPharm in pharmaceutics by qualification, he has also done his LLB later. He also worked as a book reviewer for Oxford University Press's Journal of Intellectual Property Law and Practice. He is also associated as a mentor in change with Niti Aayog's Atal Tinkering Labs ATL. This is Government of India program, and the concept is a strategic nation building innovative as initiative, as a part of which would be working with the young minds, especially the students in the area of innovation, entrepreneurship, leadership, and motivation. Currently, he is serving as an IPR consultant with various industry chambers, academic institutes, law firms, and corporates. He is involved into various entrepreneurial activities with VPA, TAPP, Pharma Literati Center of Excellence in Pharma Education, and Flexi Tutor. Thank you, sir, for being here with us. I request Vijay Kumar Shiv Pujay, sir, to enlighten us with his talk.
Thank you so much, Kratik, for the introduction, first of all. Thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Rakesh Somani, sir, the principal for the Institute, for giving us this opportunity to be on this particular platform. On a kind of auspicious day, I think I should start with wishing a very happy birthday to the honorable founder of the Dr. D.Y. Patil University, Dr. D.Y. Patil sir. And I believe the kind of initiatives that have been launched on this particular day, or the kind of activities that have been planned for this particular day, are something which would build the students career moving ahead in the right direction, in whatever field they are opting into in the near future as well. I think for me it's a privilege, again, reason being, in a short span of 4 days I'll be speaking again with this same some of the students who were already there in the last session, as well as to some faculty members as well who were part of that. And as Kruti mentioned, I've been involved with lots of activities and with respect to that, we would be more than happy to work with the students as well as the faculty members and the institute as such. So without wasting much of the time, I'll take your permission to start with my presentation. Yeah. So I'm going to speak on establishing an innovation cell within an academic institution. This has more to do with, I would say, the institute as an academic setup, the faculty members, the principal or the management who can help the students with respect to the innovation activity. That's it. One difference that we see among the students, the batch of students that we have currently vis-a-vis when we were students, long back, maybe after 20 years back, that point of time, these students have a tremendous energy level. They are very much aware of their surrounding, as well as they want to really do big in their careers in kind of untraditional ways as well. This has been my experience in the last 3 years when I started working with the for our activities for some students, what we typically call as reverse mentoring. Mentoring is one thing wherein your superiors or seniors teach you a lot of things, but then there is always a chance, especially with respect to these students, the young minds, that there is a chance of reverse mentoring. There are lots of things which can be learned from these students as well. And When we say this about the energy level, about the unconventional careers, about making actually like big as such, one thing that we have seen is more about like entrepreneurship as such. And as Somanisha rightly mentioned, when we have someone like Ruchi, who is a young, I would say a student, still a student, I would say, and like who is really doing big in terms of her startup as well as her activities as such, like so therein, as an academic institution, we have a kind of a like duty to create an ecosystem which fosters the innovation or the creativity of the students. That is very much important for an academic institution nowadays. Gone are the days when an academic institution was supposed to provide mere formal education as such, like you are providing your the so-called diplomas or degrees. Now what is expected, and that's the reason in last 5 or 10 years, if you see all your accrediting agencies as well, like you have the NBA, NAC, NIRF, even your MHRD, AICT, UGC, all these are expecting institutions to be pro-innovative, doing good in terms of research, as well as they are expecting the students to be entrepreneurs. As sir rightly mentioned, instead of a job seeker, can you be a job giver? Yes, all this looks very interesting upfront as such, but then how can we actually do that? This may be part of so-called the innovation cell or innovation incubation cell, or like at times entrepreneurship cell it is called as. So what an academic institution can do at a college level or at the university level, which can help the students to innovate as well as come up with the entrepreneurship ideas. So this is what we are going to see. And the next thing is, how can students get benefited out of that? That is also most important thing. I have actually like the major activities that can be covered under the innovation cell or of an academic institution range from anywhere between the idea generation to actual entrepreneurship, which would include the very nascent or I would say initials at an initial entrepreneurship system. Let them understand that it's just not about what you are getting as a UG or PG degree, but beyond that is something expected, and through that you can actually have your own business setup or your startup, as well as you can actually innovate as well. Now what is important here is I have just segregated this into three separate like aspects as such. First is the idea generation. For an institution which just wants to start with innovation activities or innovation cell, basically that point of time, this is really very crucial, because as we move ahead, we may have lots of startups coming, a lot of innovation coming, a lot of research happening at the institution level. But then at the very initial or nascent stage, what is important for us is to help the students generate the ideas. Okay. And when we have this kind of culture or ecosystem within our university or within our academic institution, that point of time, definitely there is an innovation ecosystem created within that particular setup, which definitely leads to entrepreneurship activities or what we call as startups. And what an institute can do at that point of time as well, we are going to see. So I have what I have done is Kriti mentioned about my profile as well. I've been extensively traveling. I've carried out more than almost 125 workshops in last 3 years as well. I've traveled more than 16 states beyond pharmacy, engineering, management, law, or like startups, incubation, everywhere, different universities, science colleges. Therein, what I have done is for the idea, what I have done in this particular presentations, I have got best of the themes or best of the practices that have been actually being used in different institutes or different universities, which can be really helpful in terms of idea generation. Now, a very simple question is that can someone learn about creativity? Is it an inherent property, inherent skill set, or can we learn it? Yes, there are methods. Actually, there are methods as well under which creative thinking itself can be learned, and there are scientific methods which are proven. And these methods or the so-called creative thinking workshop is one way actually to for which helps in terms of idea generation as such. We had a very unique concept called innovation drop box. I actually have got this right here. This is coming from Chitkara University in Chandigarh. They had a very unique concept at the university level, wherein just like we have the complaint box at the university or the institute, they have got the innovation drop box. What does it mean? Any student has got any idea as such, any idea with respect to the studies, with respect to the business, or with respect to, I would say, any innovation, basically that idea can be put on a paper in that particular Dropbox. And this innovation Dropbox, those ideas were evaluated later by a team of experts for the commercialization, for the funding options, as well as evaluating it in a 360-degree, actually, basically, which would help to understand whether we can implement this particular idea as a business or not. Okay, and let me tell you what happened with this particular idea is, initially, of course, we always resist for change, right? We're not always ready for change. Actually, if some new idea is being implemented at the college or the university, we don't want, initially everyone says no, basically. But after some point of time, what happened is this, the students started pouring in, and they were putting their ideas into this innovation Dropbox, which is a wonderful, I think, because as I said, initially there was no idea for a month or two. After some time, students realize that beyond studies, what is also expected. And let me tell you what they did is they had put it just in bang in front of them. When you enter the institute or the university premises, you would see this innovation Dropbox. And this really helped create a kind of a, I would say, ecosystem wherein students understood, or then there were lots of ideas coming up. See, when we speak about ideas, initially it's about the volumes. Initially, of course, it's about the volumes. Later on, they started getting really good ideas from the students as well. When we say ideas, as I said, not necessary with respect to pharmacy. If we are learning pharmacy, it is not necessary that your innovation should be restricted to pharmacy. Okay, you can, in fact, I have not included this slide here, but let me tell you, there is a big advantage of pharmacy always usually. First year B Farm to final year B Farm, we learn at least 25 different sciences. We learn engineering, we learn law, we learn management, we learn biotechnology, we learn maths, computers, so many different areas we have exposure to in these 4 years time as such. So we have that option to work in those areas as well, which is a big advantage for us. We should exploit it. So to generate ideas, what an institute can do is, I think the first idea that I have mentioned here is about innovation Dropbox. It really works well, actually, and I've been using this particular example in all my sessions. Beyond that, of course, we have got as sir said, the innovation drive, similar concepts like hackathons, annual events like or competitions, which may be with respect to innovative ideas per se. They are helping create a ecosystem wherein the students are encouraged to generate the ideas, come up with the newer ideas, and what happens to those ideas is also important. Reason being, it's just not about creating the idea, but ensuring that that idea is implemented into a successful business venture. It may happen that out of 100 ideas, just one. Okay. See what happens with the hackathons, annual events, and competitions, especially in the pharma domain. I'll tell you, in most of the cases, the winners get a trophy, certificate, and some cash award, and that's done. The idea is killed right there, actually. But then we need to have the ecosystem wherein these ideas can actually be taken to the actual successful businesses as well. Okay. I also liked one particular, I would say, concept in one of the institute in Siliguri, and therein, as sir was very proud to have Ruchi as a speaker here, a student to be a speaker here. At one of these institutes, they had all these role models of the students who were their entrepreneurs. Okay, and of course we have the photographs of people in the institute as such, or we have different charts and something like that. But then I really like this idea when the students venture successful startups or entrepreneurs or setups, they are their real role models, because they have seen their seniors, while studying answers. This is something. See, what we are trying to understand here is how can we actually develop an innovation system or ecosystem within an academic institution, and how can actually the student also get benefited. I spoke about creative thinking. One request to honorable principal sir and the faculty members is, if possible, have a creating thinking workshop. Actually, there are so many methods, like I've listed down 5 or 10 methods here. Creative thinking workshops really work well with the students, and the best advantage, I would say, for the institute at this point of time is that we have students from first and second year, and at this point of time, actually, this is the right time to tap them for coming up with the newer ideas, actually, because when they are pass out, actually, because generally it is said that any business venture or startup require at least 2 to 3 years to actually get established as such, or kind of to be stable comparatively. And if the students are thinking of these things at this age, definitely when they are passing out as a B Farm or a master student, that point of time, they would be instead of being a job seeker, they definitely would be job givers as well. So those of you who are really interested, keen to know, students, you can just Google out these particular terminologies. There will be lots of examples of these so-called creative thinking methods as well, wherein you can actually learn the methods for thinking creatively as well. Okay, so this is something which has been, and in fact, in 2017, we conducted under the brand of Pharma Literati creative thinking workshops in 30 pharmacy colleges as such. And of course, we are working with few of these colleges right now as well. Now, this is the first level of, I would say, the innovation ecosystem, which can be very helpful at the institution level for the idea generation. This is crucial as such. Once we have more number of ideas, out of that, how can we actually help these ideas move ahead, is maybe because of these different ways of promotion of innovation. Like, for example, we have got these, of course, some of the things are related to IP, maybe at the master's or PhD level. But then what is also important for an innovation ecosystem is the right kind of faculties or the teachers as well, who are involved into these idea generation as well as promotion of innovation as well. we have got these some of the ideas wherein, like, recently I think it was a couple of years back when we had this news that IIT Delhi allows PhD for startups registered. And so we have something like, if see, nothing works like a monetary benefit. So if for any research paper or for any patents, if the institute is providing any bonus, may it be monetary or non-monetary, in whichever means, actually, and that is something which may be kind of helping in terms of promotion of innovation. Many a times the innovation gets unnoticed, it goes unnoticed. So one of the universities, they came up with this particular idea that every thesis, every master's thesis, PhD thesis, actually goes through the innovation IIC innovation incubation cell, or the even the IP cell, to evaluate whether any of these ideas can be taken to the market, as well as can we actually come up with any IP filings out of it. Actually, this is something which is really working well for the institute as such. See, as an academic institute, of course, our prime focus always has been teaching, research as well, and these ideas can help you in term. These are routine activities actually at the institution level. These ideas can help you in terms of conducting your routine activities as well as in now, beyond this, the third thing that I'm going to discuss is about the entrepreneurship. Actually, how does it actually work? In terms of, we have an idea, we are creating an ecosystem, but then beyond that, how can we help the students actually from that idea to commercialization? I think this is the topic which the next speaker is actually going to cover as well, right? Now, I've got three practices here which can be really helpful as an academic institution for entrepreneurship promotion at the student level. Now, we spoke about lots of events, the hackathons and all. We had this concept called Campus Connect in IIS University Jaipur. Has got this concept called Campus Connect, in which Campus Connect is a unique initiative in terms of what it does is, it's an annual event basically, just like a hackathon or a competition, innovation competition basically. But beyond the certificate, beyond the trophy or some money that is provided to the winners of that particular competition, what Campus Connect does is they allow these students to commercialize the product in the campus. So IIS University has got 2,000 students. It's a university, it's a women's university basically, all female students. What they do is, in this Campus Connect, if you are a winner, you are provided a space within the university, so that you can actually, for 1 year, you can launch your product, or you can actually sell that product right there at the campus as well, which has been, so it may be a product which may be from the food sector, or maybe FMCG sector, or anything for that sake. But this is working really well in terms of not only idea generation, but because, see, it's just not about creating a successful venture for the student, but also going through that entire process of idea generation to commercialization. And entire process has been actually, I would say, been practiced at the campus itself. Of course, this is possible, definitely possible for the university like Dr. D.Y. Patil University as such. Reason being, we have a big setup, right? If it's a single institute, for them, this idea may not be being implemented at all. But then this is something which can be really work well as such. Okay. Now, the second, of course, which can be tried out at different levels as such, the students are allowed to intern at startups. So like after third year, like I think Mumbai University asked for some internship as well, right? For the third year students, third year BPharm students. But it's mostly for the industry. But can we allow the students to have their internship at startups? If it is allowed, that's really going to work really well. And for sure, we at Pharma Literati also are providing internship to the students who want to work in on any idea or on work on one of our projects as such. Therein we are helping them, as well as we are collaborated with SIBA, Center for Incubation and Business Acceleration, which is right there in Navi Mumbai. And so there are lots of startups there. I have got list of startups in the incubation centers in Navi Mumbai as well as Mumbai. I'll take you through that as well. And the last concept herein is incubation center. Incubation center, I think, would be discussed in detail later. But what I would like to mention about incubation center is the different kind of activity that are expected from institute to provide is basic infrastructure like office rooms, electricity, internet. So basically, you are providing a setup for students to have their own startup at the campus itself. Okay, and I think in a place like Navi Mumbai, it is very easily possible as such, and because see the problems that startup or a new ventures face initially are very small actually, like having a space is a bigger problem them for them, but for a university or academic institution this may not be a bigger problem as such, right? So in fact, in few cases what has been happening out is the university or institutes are providing the space on rent at a concessional rates to the to those who really want to do something in a startup domain, right? So basic infrastructure is what is expected to be provided. Business services, like now one of the, I would say, bad part of the education system is that we don't tell students about creating a business or setting up their own venture. When I, at the age of 37, left my job and wanted to start my own venture, I didn't know the difference between a proprietorship, LLP, or private company, public company. Let me tell you, 99% of the pharma students don't know this as well. But this basic understanding about business services, illustration, the legal services, the accounting, IPR services, the digital marketing, export facilitation at times, or startup registration. These things are, for a startup, these things may take a longer time, and students may not be in a position to get the right kind of services. But when a institute, let's say institute collaborates the CFO, see, when I go as an individual to a chartered accountant, he would be charging me very hefty amount, or on a very different scale as such. But when the institute collaborates for their students, definitely they have the bargaining power there, and you can have the right kind of people on board for the business services at an incubation center. This is what is expected. As an incubation center, what is expected from an academic institution is to provide the right kind of setup or the infrastructure or the services for the right kind of people, basically, who can help them understand as well as grow in their business. Financing part, something which comes at a very late stage, what we call at a startup. Basically, we require funding, a lot of funding at times. If it's a research based product, basically, or maybe if it's a technology based product, we may require initial funding. But then what are the ways financing? I think all these can be very easily available at a campus or educational institution as such. And all these CSR, the corporate social responsibility, nowadays the big companies are putting their money into startups under CSR. That is allowed now. How this can be explored, the institute can do it very effectively compared to an individual student. This is what is expected under the incubation center. Mentoring sessions. Now mentoring is also something, because startup has a very different path compared to the routine or traditional business as such. So therein you require a lot of mentoring or coaching, or I would say advisory, as well as some consultants who would be helping you out with respect to their area of expertise or services as such. You can actually also get the help of local clusters or the co-working spaces or industry chambers as well, who can help in terms of mentoring as such. Because there is, see, I'll tell you, as far as mentoring is concerned, people are always ready to help you. But then what is important, most of the time students hesitate to get in touch. But then if the students get in touch with anyone for any help, what I have seen generally, especially in the startup or incubation domain, the people are very much friendly and they're always willing to help. Reason being, they themselves have gone through the entire process and they know what kind of difficulties that they have faced, and it's their in a way, actually it's giving back to the society or to the profession as such by helping them out. So this is also what is expected out of the mentoring. So all these activities, like as I said, infrastructure, business services, financing, and mentoring are the ones which are expected from the incubation center as such. We have these incubation centers in Navi Mumbai, as I said, SIBA, which is a technology-based and DST-sponsored incubation center. We also have a incubation center at Pillai College, Pillai Center of Innovation in the Entrepreneurship. Of course, many institutes are coming up with the innovation incubation center as well. Mumbai has got lots of incubators. In fact, there is a pool of incubators right within the Mumbai, but we have some of these bigger ones at SPTBI, Sardar Patel Technology Business Accelerator, and that's in Andheri. We have AIC, Incubation Center, and we have as in Somaya Vidya Vihar as well. Now, since we're speaking about pharma, I think we have got these three, which are the healthcare incubators. These are so basically incubators are sector specific as well. We have the NIPER, DIF, and LMCP Ahmedabad, which have healthcare incubators, which help the healthcare sectors basically. Now, as an incubation center, we also have lots of funding opportunities from DST, DBT, MSME, MHRD, and AIM, Atal Innovation Mission as such. Being involved with a few of these through the industry chamber, ASSOCHAM as such, like, so, but these are helping setting up the incubation center at the institution level, as well as AIM has got in fact, we also have Maharashtra Science Innovation Society and Government of Maharashtra, who helps setting up the incubation centers in Maharashtra region, and there has been more than 80 CR grants has been accounted for these 16 incubators that have been. This is at the local level at the Maharashtra state as such. As well, there are funds like, of course, the universities from rural agencies as well, which are being provided for the institution or the university as such. So innovations are required to provide you the services, the mentorship, the funding agencies and all. This is expected from a center at the innovation cell of the institution. Let me remind you, incubation is a continuous activity, is not a one-day event or a workshop, or even innovation is innovation. And we speak about actually the creative innovation ecosystem, long process wherein we do, and I think I'm very enough that we have got these kind of sessions lined up, all the 3 sessions. Let me tell you, I don't know whether any of the institutes in Mumbai or even in if any pharmacy institute has conducted these sessions back to back on a day, for the students, at that too at such a level of first year, second year. This is really going to help the institute for sure. Also, MHRD, the ministry has actually got the IIC Innovation Incubation Cell, which are cell. I think that's what I think the faculty members and the minister are very much aware of this concept as such. You can have an internal committee, and they can actually help in terms of create all these activities within the institutional setup as such. What is expected here is, so when you have these kind of setups, definitely it's going to help the students in terms of getting what they are looking forward to for setting up their own business or a startup, as well as it's going to help the institute as well grow moving ahead as well in terms of accreditations, in terms of all the activities, as well as in terms of funding for the incubation center, or even let's say research funding as well. So that's, I think, a kind of a brief idea about how a innovation cell needs to be developed, and how can student also can look forward to for having actually this kind of innovation cell or incubation center at a academic institution level. I think I'm on time. I haven't taken much of it's not extended much. I'll be more than happy to take any questions. See, based on my experience and based on my understanding of the ecosystem, I try to put it in a very crisp manner, which can be directly, practically implemented at the educational institution as well. And that's what my aim for this particular session was. So I'll be more than happy to take any questions if there are any. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can de-share your slides so that we'll be able to see you. Yeah. So, am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the purpose of planning this particular talk, which was about having an incubation center for the student, for a simple reason that as we are inaugurating our drives cell today, the student should know what is the ecosystem and how this thing goes along. And since they are young students of first year and second year, I understood the word innovation, incubation almost after 15 years after passing my career. Okay, I mean, in that sense, last 5-6 years, I'm talking about incubation and innovation. Earlier to that, I wasn't aware of it. These students are really lucky that they are into this mindset, or we are making them aware of this. And it was really nice from your side. So I think Kruti will take some questions if there are any. And all the students should be interactive. You know, if there are questions, quickly put the question in the chat box so that Kruti can take it.
So the first question asked is, are there any specific courses for innovation? By Sakshi Singh.
Yeah. Okay. I think so there will be some conflict. I think is a question for the students. We are actually.
You are not audible to us. Vijay sir, you are not really audible. There is a lot of bandwidth problem at your end.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yeah, little bit.
Yeah.
So you can put off your video so that you will be audible.
Yeah. We are coming up with the first course about the farm startups under the brand of Farm. And this is something I can tell you about. There are very less courses per se. Has not been considered mixed as such. There have been courses but are more relevant to technology
I think no, not at all. Not at all. You are audible to us. Kruti?
Yes, sir.
Let me just talk to him on phone, and then otherwise we'll go with the next talk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kruti, you can go with the next session now. I have spoken with you.
Yes, sir. Earlier, due to some technical issues happened, so we could not play the slide for the inauguration. So I would request Neeta Patil ma'am to play the inauguration slides for us.
So let's clap all of us that this is how we are starting with our drives activity today. Okay, so drives means development of research, innovation, and various entrepreneurial skills among the students. Okay, so that is what this drive cell means for us. And this cell will be working for research, innovation, and entrepreneurial activities henceforth. So some people call it as innovation cell, some people call it as ED cell, entrepreneurship development cell. We call it as drive cell. Activities would be more or less same. Okay, thank you. Kruti, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Here we announce that the literature club is open now. As decided by the students, they can register to become a member of this club. About the registration details, that will be shared soon by sir on the official group. Moving on, I would like to thank Vijay Kumar Shivpuje sir for his talk on establishing an innovation cell within academic institution. Thank you so much, sir. You have enlightened us with your words. It is a great honor to welcome Asim Saeed Sheraz sir. Sir is an incubator manager and biodesign engineer with over 6 years of experience in entrepreneurship development and mentoring, rapid prototyping, product development and innovation, medtech, rapid prototyping facility, and Sparsh Center at Yenepoe Technology Incubator. Successful in guiding number of startups in raising funds, realizing and validating ideas and solutions. So it is currently associated with the Yenepoa Technology Incubator and Incubator Manager are in charge for more than a year. Previously, he has served Medtel Healthcare as advisor, medical devices, and a lead biodesign lab for KIIT Technology Business Incubator. Thank you, sir, for being here with us. I request Asim Saeed Sheraz, sir, to enlighten the audience with his talk.
Thank you, Kruti, and thank you, Dr. Rakesh, and the organizing team and the management. It's an honor and privilege to be present amongst you, to have this platform to at least address on this auspicious day. My best regards to the founder, like honorable founder of the TI Patil University. Yeah, so my topic is on like idea to market. So let me start by sharing the slides. One second.
So this would be more relevant to students. Idea to market.
Yeah. So I'll try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So that yeah. So there are a few complex steps. So it's a huge area. So you start with an idea, and then the moment you reach the market, it's a tremendous effort. So it's not something which a lot of people actually end up reaching. So it's a very, very complex thing. So what I'll do is I'll try to at least uh, talk about everything a bit so that it triggers your mind so that you can start thinking, at least you know what is the path which you'll have to take going forward, right? So yeah, so let me begin with this. So uh, like since the topic is idea to market, so as you can rightly like think, idea is the thing which is the most important, right? So I believe that's what you'd all think. But what is an idea basically? If you look at an idea, so idea there are various ways, various definitions. I'm not going to define it, but it's safe to say, idea is something which is going to be useful in solving a problem. Like I hope everyone would agree with this kind of definition. So which means that idea, what is the purpose of an idea or a solution here? It is the to solve a problem, right? So which means that an idea can always be as good as a problem. So idea can never be better than a problem. Again, it's a something which you can think on. So for example, if you look at the equation which is mentioned here, so let's say you want to arrive at 10 as by adding two numbers. So there are various ways which you can do. So you can add 5 plus 5, you will get 10. Probably you want to add 1 10 times, or maybe in different ways. I hope you get the point that you can arrive at a solution or an idea. You can have various ideas to arrive at a solution for a problem. Uh, by you can keep on trying. So the important point here is, what is the problem? Are you have you identified the right problem to work with? Or that's what. So if you choose a wrong problem, or your problem is not good enough, if it is not solving, sorry, if it is not having a lot of importance, then your solution does not matter. For example, you may come up with a innovative comb to comb your hair. Let's say it uses the most advanced technology which is available, but will it be useful? So of course it may be useful, but what is the value it is going to add? Will it be a game changer in the market? Maybe or may not be. So that is just something which you should think on. I'll just put a quote here. So as Albert Einstein said, so if I had only 1 hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and only 5 minutes to find a solution. So why is it important? So I hope if he had thought of this a long time ago, so this is something which you should always think of. So what is the problem which you're going to solve? Is it going to really make a difference in the world? So is it really important? So there are various factors. Nothing is right or wrong. So you have to think in that context. For example, in healthcare, you'll look at certain things which are important. In other scenarios, certain other things may be important. So you will have to really spend a lot of time on finding the problem, defining the problem, and trying to understand, are you really working on the right problem or not? Okay. To further elaborate on this point, I want you to look at another quotation by Linus Pauling. So I'm sure all of you are aware about Linus Pauling. So if you want to have a good ideas, you must have many ideas. Most of them would be wrong, and what you have to learn is which ones to throw away. So not that which ones you should take. So first you should understand which solutions or which ideas are not good enough, which ones you should discard. Inherently, what it means is you need to have a lot of ideas. You should not always settle for the first solution which comes to your mind. So you need to have multiple ideas, and then try to have, how do you decide which idea is good, which idea you should keep, which ones to throw away? So for that, there has to be a framework. So again, there are a lot of frameworks. I'll just talk about one framework here. So how do you validate an idea? So in this case, like let's say, especially in healthcare, we tend to look at two aspects. One is value proposition. What is the value proposition it is adding, and what is the innovation component? Okay, so again, innovation is not for the sake of innovation. Innovation is for how well it is addressing the problem. Okay, so under value proposition, you can again look at two things. One is, what are the healthcare outcomes of your solution? So is it improving the healthcare? It could be diagnostic, it could be treatment, it could be various aspects. So I'm speaking in a very general terms. So first is like a healthcare outcome, other one is cost benefit. So is it reducing the cost, or is it increasing the cost, or is the cost not changed at all in your solution? Okay. So I'll like quickly again put a light on how to determine value proposition of an idea, basically. Yeah, one thing what like you might have noticed, I'm not going to talk a lot about ideas. So what I'm talking about is how to select an idea, how to say what like once you know you have identified a problem and you have a lot of ideas. So what you have to do is again, this is one framework. So first you'll see if it is improving the healthcare outcome. So healthcare outcome in terms of the problem which you have identified. Let's say the problem identified is malnutrition. So in which case you see like whether your solution is improving the case like the condition of malnutrition. So you'll see if it is improving. Then next you'll look at cost. Is it reducing the cost of existing solution? If there is no existing solution, there is no comparator you have, then you'll have to see if it is affordable to the target segment, target customers, who's going to be using your solution. Okay, so you'll look at that. And like next you'll see, like let's say if it is improving the healthcare outcome, but the cost is similar to what is already available in the market, then yeah, of course, that would be something which you should still look at. So that's still acceptable. And what if it is increasing the cost? It's definitely improving the healthcare outcome, and also it's increasing the cost. So again, so why cost is important here? So cost could be like a limiting factor which would stop people from affording or buying into your technology, right? So that is something which you should look at. So if it is like your aim always would be to see achieve maximum healthcare benefit or better healthcare outcome, and also the cost should be as minimal as possible, right? So if it is increasing the cost while improving the healthcare outcome, that is still acceptable, but it means that your target market or customer segment is going to be smaller. So whatever, again, it's a very general statement. You'll have to look into these aspects in your own scenario. Okay, I'm looking at various possibilities here. Let's say your solution is as same or similar to the ones which are in the market, but it is reducing the cost. This would actually make your technology more accessible to the masses. For example, there is a particular drug which is available in the market. Let's say it's a generic drug. So, but the cost is very high, for which reason a lot of people are not able to afford or purchase that particular treatment, or let's say drug. So if you come up with something which is not changing the healthcare outcome, which means which is as good, good or as same as the comparator which is already available in the market, but it is reducing the cost to whatever level it is, then it is something which you should look at, and then it is definitely adding value to your overall solution, right? So I'll just quickly run through other possibilities also. Like if the healthcare outcome is not changed, your product is same as the competing products, but the cost is also same. So you're not changing anything. So which means there is no change in the value proposition. So, but that does not mean you should not pursue such an idea. It just means that you have to, it is not adding value, but which means it's not something which would generally classify under a innovative solution or a startup, right? So that's what you have. And yeah, all other possibilities are strictly no. For example, if the cost is increased, definitely that is not something which you should be looking at. And the last one, if your solution is decreasing the healthcare outcome, which means it's causing harm to the patient, or the care the person for whom your solution is intended at, it's something which you should definitely not look at, right? So that's completely no. irrespective of whatever the cost outcome may be, sorry, the cost factor may be, right? So anyway, so this is just to look at what is the value proposition. I'm not going to talk about what is innovation. Like I said, so you have two factors which you should look at like here while selecting an idea. One is value proposition, other one is innovation, right? So all of you might have heard a lot of talks, a lot innovation, right? So which you can, again, innovation, novelty, and all those things are something which you can very well easily understand by now, I believe. So you can have such a framework. So what is like the value proposition? What is the innovation component? So you can try to see, like always, like let's say once you have identified a problem, develop a lot of solutions. So you should have a checklist. You should go through all these factors. You should think, where is it fitting in? So for example, if it is adding value, but it is not innovative at all, but still it may be very useful for the masses. So maybe it would be improving the affordability of your solution, right? So you need to see where you are position, your idea or your solution is positioned, right? So that's something. So in rare case that your solution is adding a lot of value and then also it's very innovative, then definitely you should not look any further than that. You should just take it and then give your all in to develop it further, right? So this is again just one of the frameworks. There may be other frameworks, and yeah. So something. The idea here is the point here is that you should uh, think, have a checklist, evaluate your ideas, and then you should move forward. Okay, so this is a general cycle of healthcare innovation. So what you do is you identify, you invent, and you implement. Okay, so the core components, you can see 6 stages here. So first is need finding and need screening. Then you do concept generation, concept screening. So here, for every stage, you need to have a checklist. You need to have certain parameters or criteria against which you will evaluate, have you found a right need? Have you which would be you would have need screening criteria. So again, I'm not talking about how do you find needs, how do you find problems, how do you that's again very exhaustive. uh, I'm sure if you want to learn anything on that, so there are a lot of resources available, or there could be a separate talk for that. So the focus of this talk is to take you through the journey. So talk about what are the different things which you would encounter. Okay. So anyway, so let us look at these things uh, in a little bit more detail. So if you look at the stages of product development, and I'm talking with the point of healthcare, so which would be more relevant to you also from being from pharma background. So you'll these are again stages which are well defined and then accepted by the scientific community, and yeah, in the country. So you have various stages. You have first is ideation, of course, and then you try to prove your principle, then the concept, then you do the validation, then you enter the market, right? So before we go any further, I'm sure most of you are aware about a concept called technology readiness level. So if you have not heard of it, this is something which is really important, which you definitely look at. So technology readiness level is was something which has been in use in practice by like a lot of technology development companies. Especially NASA is credited with starting having technology readiness levels. So what the idea here is to see what is they may be working on a lot of technologies, they may be working a lot of missions. So they may be trying to go to moon, trying to go to Mars, trying to send a a probe to sun or some other distant planets, right? But can they how do they allocate the budget, how do they allocate the manpower, how do they allocate other resources? So for that you need to know what is current stage of a particular technology, or an idea. For example, you may have a lot of ideas in your mind. So you have to first of all sit and see what is the current stage of it. So is it just a concept which I have thought of? So then where does it fit in? So, or have I done some experiments? Do I have proof of principle? Do I have proof of concept, then what is the next stages, what I need to do next. So these framework is something which is very, very important, which would really put you on the right track of taking your idea to the market. Uh, yeah, it's a very difficult thing to go to the market, but nonetheless, if you are on the right track, let's say if you are not able to take it from TRL1, which is technology readiness level 1, till TRL9, which is commercialization, then there may be other people. So as long as you're, it's like relay. So as long as you're running on the right track, there would always be people who would also be running in the same track. If you say, I can only take my idea, my concept till let's say TRL level 3 or 5, then as long as you have followed the right path, as long as you have done all the right steps, so your idea would definitely be taken forward. Like you may be able to, like say you have a patent, you may be able to commercialize the patent, transfer the patent, license the patent to someone else, right? So then that's why it's always important to understand where you fall, what is the path you need to take, and to follow the right path. Okay, so this is something which was realized by our scientific community in the country, especially the funding agencies, which is Department of Biotechnology and BIRAC. So they realized, understood, and then they studied these technology readiness levels. Because if you see the figure on the right, so it would be, if I asked you what is where your idea is, you may not be able to exactly define where your idea is, because the terminology used is different, because it is for a different sector. So, so this was realized by our funding agencies, and then they have come up with a framework, technology readiness level framework for our country, for healthcare, for biotechnology, for like life sciences, pharma research, and all. Right. So, I'm just going to a lot of things may be sounding a little complex, but I'll try to just give you overview. So first is always ideation. So TRLL one. So in this case, what you like, if you have identified a need, and you know what are the scientific principles here, and you plan what is the scientific research which you need to take up. So you are at TRL1. So this is the first stage of your product development. So next, you'd look at something like a TRL2, wherein you try to do the proofs of principle. So yeah, here I'm going to talk in just a brief overview, but you'd see a table which talks about what are the TRL definitions for medical devices, diagnostic kits, drug and drug delivery. So for you, I feel drug and drug delivery may be most relevant, but nonetheless, I've just put up other things as well. You can have a read up later in detail. So this would be available. But I'll just try to give a brief overview here. So what you do is, once you have found an idea, once you have identified the need, so you would have to do market surveillance. You have to see who are the competitors. Is it novel? Is it not novel? So what are the patent scenario like? So do other people have the patents on the similar thing which you're talking about, or do they have, like, if no one has a patent on it, so is it already published, which would stop you from protecting it, patenting it, thereby like hampering your commercial interest further on. So it's always not about commercial interest. It's why commercial interest is important, why your patent is important. It is always to ensure that it reaches the market. One of the aspects, I'm not going to talk much about patent, but so this is nonetheless a very important step which you'll be doing early on. You'd be trying to look at all these things, and then you'd have a concept. What is the basic design which you need to have? What is the hypothesis? And you try to do some experiments, in vitro studies, probably you'll do here, right? So if it is a diagnostic kit, you'll try to see what kind of antibodies you'll be using, what kind of antigens, antibodies, and also whether you need to develop those, or do you need to procure from some vendors. So all those things, if you are doing, which means that it means that you are at technology readiness level 2, TRL2. Okay, so once you complete it, you would have established the data or results. What you have with you would establish, like if it is establishing the proof of principle, then you have successfully completed TRL2. So again, another important reason why you should look at these technology readiness levels is progressively all the funding agencies in the country have made this as a mandatory parameter to know when you apply. They will ask what is the current stage of your proposal. Is it at TRL2 or 3 or 5? So again, and what would be the end TRL once you finish your project? So these are certain things which should be relevant. Why there is so much of emphasis on this, right? So next, proof of concept demonstrated in, like, if you have done it, so that would be like TRL level 3. So here, your focus is on looking at individual components, individual modules, and trying to prove the functionality of it, trying to prove that it works or not. For example, if it is a diagnostic kit, you try to see, probably you'll take a 96 well plate ELISA, and there you'll be quoting your own antibodies, whichever ELISA you may be doing, and you'll try to see what is the limit of detection, what is the sensitivity your assay is offering. So of course, you would be doing this probably with a spike biological sample. You will not be going for ethical clearance to obtain any clinical samples. You would be doing something with spike samples, right? So this is generally what is your TRL level 3 would mean. So I'm sure Ruchi is going to talk more with the practical example, but TRL level 3 is something which you would be doing in biotechnology ignition grant of BIRAC. So this is some an level which you'd be encountering over there. So next would be, like, let's say if you have established if you just go back. So this is where you are demonstrating a proof of concept. So TRL4 is establishing a proof of concept. So here, mostly what you'd be doing is you'd be trying to integrate all the individual core components into one kit. Or if it is a medical device, you'd be trying to develop a functional prototype which works, which you can demonstrate in a probably animal model or a simulated environment, not on humans, of course. So nothing is going to humans at this stage. So when you talk about drug delivery, you'll be establishing efficacy and safety of your formulation in vivo studies you'll be doing here. So once you have done this, so it means that you have cleared TRL4. So next, this is something which is very difficult for a lot of research to come in these days. There is a lot of emphasis to help bridge this gap. So most of the research would stop at TRL4. So this is if you count the number, so it starts from TRL1 and it goes till TRL9. So if you look at like TRL4, so if you have done this much, if you have established a proof of concept and then you have reached TRL4, so it means that you have done a great job actually. So this takes a lot of funding, a lot of time, and a lot of efforts. And simply there may not be enough incentives or enough funding for you to proceed, go beyond this. And most of the grants, like biotechnology acquisition grant or any other grant, startup grants which you get, they would fund you till here. So there is definitely a gap to go to TRL5 and beyond. So for this, of course, the government is different funding agencies are making a lot of efforts in making available a lot of funds, which would help you go from TRL5 till TRL7 at least. You'll get to know shortly what is TRL7, but the validation. So why validation is very important. If you look at TRL4, you have just established a proof of concept in your own lab probably. And what does industry do? So industry is always skeptical, at least in Indian scenario. If you look at, industry is always skeptical. They don't trust the research which is going on. Probably, I'm trying to talk in a general a scenario. It could be wrong as well in most of the cases, but they don't since as long as your technology is not validated, they are unsure whether this would really work. Is this scalable? Can we really take it to the market or not? So that's why probably you would see a lot of pharma companies are not doing any R&D in the country. So they are not doing any R&D here. Maybe if they have another their lab in another country, they would probably doing R&D there or something. So I'm not going to get into that, but the point being, so early stage validation, which is TRL5 and TRL6, are very, very key aspects. This is where a lot of technologies die. This is where people get stuck due to various reasons, and they don't go beyond this. Especially when you talk about your pharma research, you will have to do preclinical studies in GLP, so most or GMP. So most of those studies or experiments would cost a lot of money, which may not be funded by a typical research grant, right? So this is what you try to do basically in TRL5. Yeah, the journey is a little bit easier for medical devices, wherein you try to show the biocompatibility and the various electrical safety and all those different studies you'll be doing, and you'll be going forward there. Okay, so I'm sure you had a chance to at least read a few of them. So I'll just quickly say that in diagnostic kits, so what you'd be basically here doing is you'd be taking clinical samples and you'd be doing your validation here. Okay, and yes, so fine. So let me just move to the next one. So in TRL6, you'll have for as far as the medical devices is concerned, you'll have a fully functional like a device which is ready, again clinical grade, which means it should be usable on the patients, which means it should be safe for the patient in terms of biocompatibility, in terms of electrical properties, and all other things. So yes, so in this case, yeah, of course, if you look at drug and drug delivery, you'll be doing phase 1 clinical trials here, and to finish TRL6, you should have completed. You should complete phase 1 clinical trials and submit the results to DCGI, and yeah, that's what, so you'll be making a IND application here as well, and then requesting for phase 2 clinical trial approval here. So yes, so TRL7 would be like in terms of drug and drug delivery, it would be a completion of phase 2 clinical trials and requesting for approval of phase 3 clinical trials, right? So that's what you would have here. And yeah, of course, I'm not going to talk about other things here. So I'm sure. So what you like, it would be similar. So this is late stage validation, what you'd be doing here, right? So if you are able to reach till TRL at least 6, it means that you are very, very close to going to the market, not only in terms of number, in terms of like you have crossed a huge mountain, in terms of getting it closer to the market. Fine. So quickly to wrap up, so TRL8 deals with pre-commercialization, wherein you'll be applying, looking for like a manufacturing license, and for if and you'll be completing phase 3 clinical studies here. And of course, TRL9 is when you do the commercial launch after getting the approval from the regulatory bodies, right? Yeah. So that's all. So that's just a brief overview. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, please de-share your presentation so that you can be seen.
Definitely, definitely. So sure. I'll be sending across this presentation as well to Rakesh as well if you need any.
Yeah, that will be great.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah, are you de-sharing it now?
1 second.
Yeah, so that we can see each other. And I have a question basically.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. So the question should be asked by the students. If you have understood, this session was about idea to market. You said that there could be the idea where value proposition is there, but there is no innovation. That is acceptable idea. That is what you said. You also said that value proposition is there and innovation is also there. That is good idea, no doubt. So can you give an example of an idea where value proposition is there, but innovation is not there?
Yeah, so value proposition here basically would mean that it is either improving the healthcare outcome or it is reducing the cost. But it is already known. Probably, like let's say if you, I'll just give you a general example. Probably I'll try to be more relevant to your own field. So I'm not from a pharma background.
No
So
problem.
let's say you have like a particular, let's say enzyme which you are developing. So you would try to optimize certain steps, or you try to eliminate certain steps, thereby reducing the cost which you'd be incurring for development. So since you have spent less amount of money for development, probably you will be able to sell it for a cheaper price. So wherein the cost has gone down, the end product is same as what is already available in the market, but you are able to sell it for a much lower price. So which means you have added value. There is
So,
no, yeah,
so typically it is kind of, as far as pharma industry is concerned, typically it could be a process development
yeah,
of any pharmaceutical,
yeah,
For example, nowadays China market is very famous as the cost of the production of antibiotic and other, pharmaceuticals or APIs, what we call, is very, very cheaper as in China, whereas in India, the cost grows. So probably working on those kind of products and developing the process in such a way that the cost of the formulation or cost of the API goes down. That could be one of the aspects.
yeah, definitely. You're right. You're right.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So when you talk about idea to market, and particularly for the students community, what you will give? I mean, nutshell, what will be your suggestion for the students as far as idea is concerned? Now you have given a lot of TRLs and all those. Probably whether the students are in a position to grasp what you said, I really have a doubt. Of course, I understood, and it is really fantastic methodology of gauging the idea and taking it to the market, no doubt about it. But for a student, because you rightly said that any idea is idea, we did not restrict that ये idea अच्छा होगा, ये idea बुरा होगा. No, you should try it and do it. So any specific message you would like to give to the students as they are entering into this phase of their life about idea generation?
Yeah, no, definitely. What I would definitely say is you try to basically understand why you're solving, like idea, like I said earlier. So idea is nothing but a way to solve a problem. So which means the essence is not the idea. Don't get carried away with ideas. Try to look what is the problem
Problem.
trying to solve, and is it really important to solve? Why is it important? Has anyone else solved it? If they have solved, so is there any gap which how your way of solving is important, and why you people should opt for your solution, your way of solving a problem. I think
Correct.
if you look at the problem mostly and try to really understand from in the shoes of the person who's going to use, the customer segment who is going to use it, so what really value it is adding to them, I think that would be a thing which should be like a very important for any student to start thinking.
So one should focus on the problem rather
Yeah,
than the idea.
yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Anybody? Ishan, you have any question to ask?
Sir,
No question. Okay, Kruti, over to you.
Yes, sir.
Any question in the chat box, Kruti?
No, sir.
Okay.
No question.
So the students, again, more, if you have no question, means whether you are following it or not, or whether you are just trying to understand at this point of time, and there will be question in future. That is a question for myself, So anyway, for me, Mr. Asim, it was really a good talk, but I hope that we'll be able to take it forward for the students also. Yeah, Kruti.
Thank you, sir, for the talk on idea to market a healthcare perspective. Your words have surely inspired us all. It's our privilege to welcome Ruchi Singh, Madam, for the second time in our campus. Madam is a co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Cerelia Nutritech Private Limited, New Delhi, India. She is a founder and director of Relicus Healthcare Private Limited, Mumbai. She is recognized as top 500 global deep tech startups under Hello Tomorrow Global Summit 2019, Paris, France, and has been awarded as Startuppreneur of the Year, Life Sciences and Healthcare category at CII Future Global Business Forum 2018, sponsored by Jubilant Life Sciences. She has emerged as one of the top 5 startups out of a cohort of 33 startups for Advanced Business Acceleration Program by at XLR8 Andhra Pradesh Technology Business Accelerator, a program of the state of Andhra Pradesh in association with IC2 Institute of the IC2 Institute, University of Texas at Austin, and the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, India. She was a co-investigator in funding received from Pfizer India under the Pfizer IIT Delhi Innovation and IT Program, Grand Challenges Canada under Stars in Global Health Round 9, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation under Grand Challenges Exploration India, supported by DBT, BRAC, Government of India, and implemented by IKP Knowledge Park. There is many more to add. Thank you, madam, for being here with us. I request Ruchi ma'am to enlighten the audience with her talk.
Thank you, Kruti, for the warm welcome. I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Somani for inviting me again to DY Patil, and also I would like to wish founder Dr. DY Patil on his birthday. I'm very glad that I'm getting an opportunity to present in front of you all again. So without wasting a lot of time, I'll just quickly share my presentation, and then so I'm hoping that I will receive a lot of questions at the end of the session. My thing would be more like a case study. I am like a living example of what Vijay and Asim have spoken in the past one and a half hours. So I'm hoping that at least one among the 70 participants would be ignited to carry on their entrepreneurial or the startup journey. So I'll just share my screen.
That is the objective of this particular exercise, that at least one of this entire group should get ignited. And as Ruchi is talking today, somebody else will be talking after 4 or 5 years on such kind of platform. Yeah, please, Ruchi.
That's it, yeah. I'm unable to, I think the host has disabled screen sharing.
Nita Patil, can you please make her host? Probably because of this name, she must not have understood that.
Yeah, I actually logged out some time back, yeah. So copy that.
Exactly, yeah. I'll just check.
Sure, I have made you a co-host, madam.
Yeah, okay.
You can start. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, like Kruti already introduced me, I'm co-founder for 2 startups. I would say one of them is kind of a failed one, but yeah, I'm co-founder for 2 of these startups. So I have always been a very curious a student, a curious researcher, and when like all of you all in few years would be have to decide this what to do after your BPharm. So I was posed with the same question, what to do after my BPharm. So generally we have this 2 ways. Either if you are good in technical, you like doing research, you go for your master's, or if you are or you take up a job, or maybe you go for an MBA if you want to, if you have that managerial. So for me, apart from being curious, I was also very confused because I wanted to do research as well as I wanted to go for MBA. And my luck was bad that I qualified both CAT as well as GPAT. So again, it was another confusion what to do. So finally, like I decided that I'll go for my master's and I'll carry on with my research. Now, when I started with my MPharm, I was sure that I didn't really want to do something which is mediocre. But then I wanted to do, if I'm doing some research, it has to add some value, it has to be some substance to it. And so me with my guide and one of my seniors, we came up with this beautiful concept wherein we were trying to work on some anti-cancer formulation. But then, as you know, the moment you say anti-cancer and nanotechnology, it takes up a lot of money, lot of resources. And at that particular time, the institute where I was doing, Sir was also part of that institute, Vivekanand. So where we did not have a lot of resources in terms of instrumentation, in terms of funds or grants. So one fine day, there was this one newspaper ad which mentioned about this biotechnology ignition grant, which Asim has been talking about, and he takes care of this grant for his incubator. So what he's been talking about. We came across this ad, and we decided, let's give it a shot. So the team was very naive and not very experienced, I would say. We somehow managed to put up a proposal. One master student, one PhD scholar, we both somehow managed to put up a proposal. And to our surprise, we got the grant. So from there, I would say that my journey for research started, because when I started with my master's, I had zero research skills. Even though I had done some little bit of research projects with my faculty members here and there in my bachelor's degree, but then the exposure was almost close to zero. So the incubator, and one good thing that happened is we moved to an incubator out of Mumbai. We moved to an incubator where I happened to meet Asim. He was working there, and he was a part of the incubator there. So there I met a lot of other researchers. That was the first time in that incubator in Bhubaneswar, was where I got to know about these terms called entrepreneur incubator, seed fund, venture capital. So you guys are very lucky that very early in your student life, you are able to, you're exposed to such sort of programs. For us, we were completely alien. In fact, even our faculty members to some extent were alien to this entire concept. And when I went to this incubator in Bhubaneswar, and when I came back, I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, there's this another entire world out there, wherein if you want to do something, there are mentors, there are people who will help you out. You just need to find the right way how they would help you out." So this particular grant, what I got was from where I got the funding. I developed research skills. I filed a patent, but then somehow things did not really work out in that particular project, and I decided that I wanted to be my own boss, and also I had multiple ideas. So now, if you have multiple ideas, if you want to put them into existence, if you want to give them life to the ideas, it is impossible, almost impossible, I would say, if you're working for someone else. So I decided that if I want to give life to my ideas, I need to be my own boss. I need to start something of my own. And if you have to work really hard, why work for someone else? Rather work for yourself. So then I decided that I'll start. Like I mentioned, I was interested in the marketing part as well, and I'm a bit creative. I would call myself a bit creative. So I started this my first startup, Relicus Healthcare, which was a generic pharmaceutical branding and marketing startup. I started this from my own money, little bit borrowing from here and there from my parents, and then I was working for a brief period of time. I was working as an assistant professor. So I remember whatever salary I used to get, I used to just keep like 1,000 or 2,000 for myself for traveling, and also since I was staying at home, I did not require a lot. But then rest everything I was putting up in this company. I tried running this company for close to 2.5 years. Uh, so this has been the biggest learning opportunity for me, since when I started, I just started. I think it's a good thing that without thinking, without giving multiple thoughts, I took that risk. I took the risk to start. So here the problem was I did not have a proper founders agreement. My co-founder, he was a friend, but then we did not have very definite legal agreements which would define how will we work, how the profits would be shared, how the losses would be compensated for, how much time each person is going to, revolve. And there were a lot of legal challenges. So I started this in Bombay. I would say not Bombay, but then suburbs in Kalyan, wherein there was a lot of issue with. So it was a pharmaceutical marketing and distribution startup. So there were a lot of problems with the local politics over there, wherein they kept asking us for a lot of uh, unnecessary compliances, which were not even mentioned by the state government or the central government. So there were a lot of legal challenges. Plus, I did not know about trademark. I did have a fair idea about what trademarks are, but then I did not know exactly what type of trademark I should file so that they will not get rejected. Because trust me, filing for trademark might not take a lot of money now. I think it's barely around 5 to 10,000 per trademark, but then it's still a lot of amount when you're putting your own hard-earned money. Also, we were young. We did not know how to handle the supply chain. There's something called as unit economics, wherein you decide the cost of the MRP of each individual unit that you're going to sell. So without proper knowledge about it, we just started it off, and we did realize that even though we were making money, it was taking a lot of time to get the break even. So also, I had this personal problem wherein I was trying to micromanage everything. So I was trying to micromanage everything, and there was this one point, micromanage in the sense I wanted to control every single thing, which is hazardous, which is extremely bad for any organization, small or big. It's horrible for any organization when the topmost person is trying to micromanage stuff. Also, the biggest problem is failure to pivot. So I don't know if you all remember, the students you all would be very like very young, maybe in your 11th class or even school. There was this 365 combination of drugs which were banned. Suddenly they were banned so they were banned all across India. And out of 5 products that we were selling, 3 of the products were in that combination. And now we didn't know what to do. So we were just left with two products, and not a huge stock, but then a small amount of stock which was there. And we had to, we could not do anything. You cannot sell them because they were banned. So at the right time, I failed. We as a company, we failed to pivot, and I think that was the biggest mistake that we did. So, so there were a lot of learnings out of this particular failure. The most important learning that I had was have the right co-founders. Have the right co-founders, no matter if they are your friends. It doesn't matter. It's okay if they're not your best friends or amazing friends or very good friends, but then make sure that all the co-founders, it's better that you know them from before, but then make sure that you are working towards the same direction. You all have the same vision. It should not happen that in between, wherein things go a bit haywire, one of the person is just running away and you are left stranded alone to, because this startup journey, no matter how fancy it looks, no matter how it seems very fancy. You might be feeling that okay, you're called, you get prizes, you get awards, you're called for speaking at different events, you get funds, but then it's a very difficult journey. And the only person, your family, your friends, your partner is not going to help you out. The only person who's going to help you out and understand will be the co-founder. So having a right co-founder is extremely important. So for my initial company, the operation cost was very high. The operation cost is becoming very high. So that just breaks your back, especially when you do not have any funding. Even if you have any funding and your operation cost is really high, it will not take you anywhere. You're going to exhaust all your funds, all your savings, all your money, capital. You're going to exhaust in a very small period of time, and you will not be able to reach where you want to. Also, like I said, micromanagement. So I realized that you cannot do everything. You just cannot do everything. There's no single person on this planet who can do everything. So best is empower others, empower your team members, be it your co-founders, the people who you're going to hire. If you empower them, people do wonderful things. So that's one of the most important lessons that I have learned. Another thing, what I realized in this entire journey is people start for money. Now, if you start for money, the moment, so this startup journey is not easy. It will take some time, some years, maybe many years to actually start earning money. But then if you're starting with a purpose and not starting with money, if you're starting with a purpose, no matter how much of a time it takes, you will definitely follow that and you will reach the end stage and money will automatically follow. But then if you just start for money, I don't know if you guys know, but then around 90 to 95% startups, they shut down in less than a year or 2 years. It's I feel it's probably because they probably started just for money and they were not patient enough. They thought probably immediately I'll become $1 million company in a year or 6 months, but that's not the reality. In fact, even Ola, Uber, what you see, these though the profits and all is a different story altogether. But then even those companies took up a lot of time to reach where they are. So most important thing is don't just start because it looks fancy, because everyone else is doing it. You have a purpose why you are starting. So my first purpose when I started my first company was that I wanted to be my own boss. But then that was not a good enough purpose to start a company. But then later on in the process of that failure, I did realize, okay, what exactly my purpose is. So the another thing is invest in hiring well. Probably this is not really important for you people, but then maybe some of the faculty members here who would want to start up or something. So in the previous company, I was trying to hire people for a cheaper cost and not getting the right talent. But then if you spend the right amount of money for hiring, or not just money, but then time and hiring well. So for my the second startup, Cerealia, we did not hire very expensive manpower, but in the type of manpower we hired, we took good amount of time to hire them, and we make sure that the people that we are hiring are trainable. So also another thing is if you want to build a startup and not just any conventional business, for a startup you need to sell a story. Just your product won't sell. You need to sell a story. Forget about selling in the market. The investors won't fund you if you don't have a story. So I think Asim would agree to this. So everywhere you go, they need a story. And the most important thing is there will be failures, a lot of failures. Uh, so if you succeed once, there will be 10 failures which will precede that one successful moment. So don't fear those failures, just embrace it. And like Asim was mentioning, don't just have one idea, have multiple ideas. Because so all of us feel that our baby is good. No mother, no parent in this world is going to feel that, okay, my baby is not good, my child is ugly, or my child is useless. No, they won't. Everyone likes their own baby. So in the same way, all of us, whatever idea we have, we feel that, okay, this is the best possible idea. No one has ever done this. I have the best possible idea. But then it's very important. That's why what Asim said, validation, idea validation. That's the reason why this is extremely important. Also, I would just like to deviate a bit on what Asim was talking. So you might be feeling that that TRL level is important only for startups, only for if I want to get my healthcare product into the market. But then that TRL is extremely important even for researchers at academic setup. So a lot of times we feel that, especially academicians, since I have been one myself and I still work very closely with academicians, and I'm also doing my PhD simultaneously. So I know how the academician, how what goes on in their mind. So there is a huge gap between what the industry wants and what the academicians do. So that's why learning these things, it's not just important because maybe you want to build your own startup in the coming few years or whatever. But then it is also important so that whatever research you are doing, it should just not get confined to your thesis or to your research or review article. There has to be some outcome of this particular whatever research you are doing. Because I'm sure any all the faculty members here and the students are pretty young to start their own research work, but then I'm sure you all know it takes sweat and blood to come up with any and complete any research. So it's better that you know about these things so that uh, when you're starting a research work, you're not just starting because it looks fancy. So like I mentioned, the one what I did in M Farm, we thought that okay, this is what the world needs, but no, Even though it was anti-cancer, it looked fancy, it had nanoparticles in it, it got funded, but then that's not something which is a real world problem. So real world problems require real world solutions. And so that's why we started with Cerelia Nutritech, our second startup. So my co-founder, Kiran, he was undergoing a fellowship. Wherein in rural parts of Orissa, so both of us were in Bhubaneswar. He was working. He was a part of some other fellowship. So in rural parts of Odisha, he underwent a immersion program for 6 months. And so when he used to come back from his immersion, so this fellowship was about maternal and child care health, maternal and child health. Now, when he used to come back from his fellowship, he used to have discussions. What was the outcome? What problems the pregnant women or mother or to be mother faces? So what we jotted down some 150 odd problems. But what we realized, the root cause of all these 150 odd problems was nothing but a very simple underlying condition, which is malnutrition. So every year, the government, Indian government, I'm talking about, spends close to 2,600 crores on various nutrition initiatives, wherein they are fortifying food, they are supplying folic acid and vitamin tablets practically for free. You just have to go and eat them. But then the adherence, I'm sure the compliance or the adherence, all pharmacy students should be aware of this term compliance or adherence, patient compliance, is extremely poor. Only 30 to 33% women, they actually consume these tablets and they complete the therapy. Now we tried to figure out what could be the reason why the compliance is so low. So what we figured out that pregnant women already have the problem of nausea and vomiting. So having an extra tablet added to it. The other reason, especially in the rural area, if you have in the rural India, they have this notion that if a woman has iron tablet, uh, when she is pregnant, the baby that would be born would be darker in color. And how obsessed we are with fair skin, the mother-in-law and the husband would not let the pregnant lady have these supplements. So this was something which was kind of impossible to break because they have their own notion, and it's just impossible for them to no matter how much of a counseling you do, they will not listen to you. So then we decided, like we thought that, and apart from these problems, there were a lot of other biological problems as well, wherein it has a very low bioavailability and it used to cause iron, especially when you take it orally, it causes GI disturbance, GI disturbance. So we finally we thought that we should come up with a product which the women are not forced to use, but then rather they love to use. So you don't have to compel them to utilize it. So we came up with this technology wherein we are delivering nutrients through skin. It's in the form of a cream. We have a technology which is patented now. Our patent was recently granted, I think around 15-20 days back. So wherein we coat these nutrients and then they are added to a cream, and through these they bypass the skin through the transdermal route. I'm sure all of you must be knowing what is transdermal route. And from the skin, they are directly delivered into the blood. And the beauty of this technology is that we have proof of concept for both hydrophilic as well as lipophilic molecules. And we also tried on certain drugs, but then the regulatory pathway for drugs is high. It's long, and we do not really want to get into that as of now. But then maybe if things go well, we might enter that as well. So so right now where we are is we are done with our preclinical proof of concept. We have done multiple animal studies in rats, rats and rabbits. Also, we were supposed to start with our clinical trial, but then it's on hold because of this COVID situation. So now reaching this stage, so in Asim's TRL level, we are somewhere at TRL, we have completed TRL 5 and about to start TRL 6. So reaching this stage has been, it requires a lot of money. So anyone who knows that carrying out one animal trial, giving one sample for LCMS, it requires a lot of money. So here it was impossible. Even if I wanted to put money from my own pocket, I would never have that much money. All my father's money combined would also never fund this thing. So one good thing is, at every stage we had some or the other funding body supporting us. So it started with my co-founder's fellowship, which was through BIRAC. And Asim can tell you a lot about this, because I think when Kiran was doing this fellowship, Asim was in charge of this SIP, the fellowship. So this is a very nice fellowship wherein they give you 18 months, so you can explore. They give you a small amount of money, around 5 lakhs, plus you get a monthly salary, a monthly fellowship, and also they put you across. They expose you to a lot of mentors. So this is a very right thing. And if you search, there are many such fellowships which are available in healthcare setup. Bill Grow Foundation has one fellowship, if I'm not wrong. PIRAC has this particular fellowship. So the next stage was, so with this little amount of fellowship money, the 5 lakh, we developed some proof of concept, and then we applied for Pfizer. So Pfizer is a very big pharma company. I'm sure you all must be aware of. Pfizer and IIT Delhi, they have a collaboration wherein Pfizer funds and IIT Delhi gives you space and other mentorship. So we applied for this particular funding, and we were fortunate enough that Pfizer really liked this idea, and it was similar to what product portfolio they have. So they liked this idea, and they decided that they would fund us. So this particular funding, it has one criteria, that you need to have a mentor from IIT Delhi. We knew absolutely no one in IIT Delhi. Forget a faculty member, but we did not even know a single student in IIT Delhi. But then we were lucky enough that the incubation center there at IIT Delhi connected us to one of the faculty members, who's a mentor to us right now, Dr. Veena Kaul. She's a mentor to us, and she really liked the idea, and she was ready to support us, and she was ready to be our mentor. And with the funding that we got under Pfizer IT program, we generated some more data, and we applied for other 2-3 more fundings. So we applied for multiple, but then 2 of it clicked. One is Grand Challenges Exploration India, which is by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it is kind of managed by BIRAC. And then there's this Grand Challenges Canada, which is from the Canadian government. Also, okay, so I knew about, I was a formulation person. I had experience in formulation. I could develop formulation, but what next? In order for it to reach this TRL 6, there are multiple other levels that you have to pass. There are multiple other things that you have to do. So also, not just that, even before setting up a company, how to make a business plan, what type of taxes you have. We did our initial study, and we decided that we would go for a private limited company. And luckily, one of our co-founders was, I would say, financially aware or financially literate, unlike us researchers. So in order to make myself aware about these financial things, the taxation, what about GST, what if I want to take my product abroad, what type of regulations I would require. So I underwent these 2 accelerator programs. One is it's by V Foundation. I'm forgetting the full form, but it's only for women entrepreneurs. So it's a 6-month program. It used to happen only in IIT Delhi, but then now they do it in IIT Bombay as well. So it's only for women entrepreneurs. You need not even be an entrepreneur. You just need to have an idea. So they initially you have to give your idea. You have to they have a form. You need to submit your idea, and they will evaluate your idea. The best part here is you need not have a degree. You don't have to complete your degree. So any female student out there, or a faculty member, if you have any idea, you have to feel that you want to have your own startup. It's never too early, and it's never too late. So just you can just apply to this V Foundation. Right, V Foundation, you'll get to their site and you'll come to know a lot of things. So they have a 6-month program. It's like a mini MBA. which is for free. The best thing is it's for free. So it's a mini MBA program, which is for women prospective entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs. They teach you everything about the taxation, the financial part, how to make a business plan. Vijay was talking about design thinking. So they get experts from National Institute of Design who will talk about design thinking. They'll tell you how to pitch to funders, what are the different funding opportunity available. So it's like a mini MBA for entrepreneurs. And I think that was one of the best things that I did. I invested my time in in my startup journey. The other one was by this IC Square Institute, University of Texas, Austin, which was done in collaboration with Andhra Pradesh Innovation Society. So since our company is registered in Andhra Pradesh, we had access to this. But then I think they accept all others as well. So this was a very nice program wherein a person from IC Square Institute was there for these 4 months. And we used to have monthly 4 classes and this was all about they helped us in making a business plan and they actually teach you how to pitch, how to talk, how to give your presentation. So amazing programs. And best part is for both these programs, you need not have a registered company, you need not be a already entrepreneur. We were, but then not everyone there, especially for this V Foundation program. You just need to have an idea, submit that idea. If they like it, they will call you. And there is no age bar. So one of my intern, I think she's in second year B Farm right now. So she interned with us. I'm based out of Dipsar. So I have a lot of pharma students around me. So one of my interns, she was very interested and I suggested that you go and attend this program. So she's like 19 and they accepted her and she was very happy with this program. So at every stage you definitely find, so this is what I have undergone, but then there are multiple other options also available. If you have the intent, I'm sure you will be able to find it out what other opportunities are available. So in these 4 years since we started, we have represented India at Paris and at Finland for international startup events. So we were in top 500 global startups. We were even awarded by CII. And we have been at multiple competitions. Also, with this funding, we were able to set up our lab. So I'm very happy that we have successfully set up our lab. Right now, we have a fully functional lab, apart from the very expensive instruments, which we do not require every day, obviously. That we outsource, but then with this funding, we have established a good functional lab, and which was not possible at an individual capacity or with my own money. But then with the funding which is available, it was definitely possible. So we started with one product, and like I was saying, pivot. So pivot is something wherein you know that you start with something, but then you realize this is not working. You realize in certain point of time that, okay, this particular thing is not working. And then you decide that you have to take a leeway. You're not supposed to go in this way. We'll go in some other way. So we started with one product, but then right now we have around, so this has like 5, 6, but then we have around 9 products under development, which are at different stages. The maximum what we have reached is for one for anemia, which we were supposed to start a clinical trial with. So, like I mentioned in this journey, so I was a formulation person. I knew a little bit about pharmacy. I knew a little bit about formulation, but it was not just that. I had to upgrade my skills. I had to learn about regulatory. I had to learn about GMP, GLP. I had to learn about IPR, because when you're filing a patent, you cannot just rely on your patent attorney to blindly let them do whatever they want to do. You have to sit with them. You have to devote your time. In fact, even for researchers, even for academic faculty members here. So when I filed my first patent, which was for that anti-cancer thing, it did not get granted. So the mistake is mine. The reason being, the attorney would do whatever she wants to do. So I should have sat with her and I should have read multiple other patents. I should have read other multiple patents. I should have gone through the rules, what is granted, what is not granted, and helped her in drafting. which is exactly what I did for the second patent, which is granted now. So I had to learn about IPR, I had to learn about marketing, I had to learn about compliances, taxes, and everything. So it's a very nice thing that you get to learn a lot of things, because if probably you go for a job, you'll have that domain specific expertise. So I would have probably been just uh, expert in formulation. I would never get to know about all other things. So this has been an amazing thing. This is my super amazing team. Like I mentioned, I knew my co-founders before. And we all had the same vision and mission, which was extremely important. So it doesn't really matter if they are your best friends or not. In fact, my previous co-founder was a very good friend and still is a very good friend. But then things did not really turn out because we did not have the same mission and vision. But here we all have the same mission and vision, and we have the patience to wait for these 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever amount of time it takes to reach the end stage. And also, we are very lucky that we have amazing mentors who are giving us their services pro bono. Pro bono is without charging us any fee. So, in these 4.5 years, we have won close to, I think, around 18 to 20 awards at national, international level, and 3 grants. So it has been an amazing journey. And I feel sometimes I feel that I started it too early, but then sometimes I also feel that that was the right thing to do because I could take that risk. Maybe if I would start, if I want to start, maybe when I'm 35 or have some 5-10 years of experience, I would not want to leave that stable salary which is coming in my account every month. I would never want to do that. So again, I would say no time is nothing. No time is too soon or too late. So you can start when you are 60. I had been to this one startup event in Hyderabad, wherein there was one uncle. He was 68-year-old, and he just started his own venture. So it was about they were making some water filter out of low cost water filter which works without electricity. So I was so impressed and so inspired by him that okay, it's never too late to start. Also, like I mentioned, my intern who underwent that program, she was just 19, and in this lockdown, she already started selling some homemade cosmetics and soaps, and so it's a small thing, but then it's still an entrepreneurial venture. So it's never too early or never too late to start. Okay, thank you. That's all from my side. If you all have any questions, I'll be happy to take.
So what a incredible journey, Ruchi. I saw you giving Viva of farm chemistry at the final year B Farm. And now
I did not know anything about.
Yeah, I know. And now talking about the entrepreneurship innovation, and I'm really happy to see the great development from 2015 to 2020. My dear students, this should be the motivation for all of you to take it. And so 3 words I remember, that is patience, perseverance, persuasion. These are the words which will take you through a long journey in this particular endeavor. So I think there are some questions. Kruti, you can take the questions, please. Yeah, you can de-share. Yeah, Ruchi de-share this.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And if request to all the speakers, if you wish to share your presentation, please share with us. We will preserve these documents and we'll show to our students that this is how entrepreneurship and innovation can be taken further. Yeah, sorry, Kruti, please.
Yes, sir. So Ishan has asked a question. What kind of a person makes a successful entrepreneur?
I don't know if I can answer this. I don't think so there's any right answer for this. But then, I meet a lot of startup co-founders who I really adore. And I have seen their journey and they have done amazing. Also, I have seen a lot of startup co-founders who are successful, but I don't really like them as persons. So I would just say that what qualities I admire in successful entrepreneurs, I would not call myself successful because I've not yet reached there. There's still a long way. There's still a long way because the product we are developing is that kind. And I think I'll just share the qualities which I feel make them successful. Patience, patience, having a purpose, because I have not seen any entrepreneur, be it anything, even money could be a purpose. Even money could be a purpose, but then there has to be a particular purpose why you are. So be very clear why you are entering into this, not just because it's fancy, it gives you fame, but then have a purpose. So patience, purpose, and someone who has this uh, undying spirit of continuing it no matter what. So that's what I feel, because even if you go and read a lot of successful big entrepreneurs, they did not become successful overnight. They took sometimes even close to 25, 30 years from day one of their startup journey. So I think patience is extremely important, and that undying spirit of keep working towards it, whatever come what may. I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is by Nandita. How can we install an entrepreneur spirit in us as a student?
How can we? So as students, so someone had this question, I think for Vijay, that is it useful to participate in startup competitions? So I would say start with that. Look for there are a lot of e-cells, entrepreneurship cells who have these startup competitions. In fact, me and Somani sir, we worked towards one in our previous organization, and there was just one event, Ignition, which we started, and I'm very happy to see that they're still continuing it. And so it's a very nice thing, because you start thinking in that direction. So they have these B plan competitions. IIT Bombay has a lot of hackathons. They have a lot of hackathons. So a hackathon is an amazing place where you can, you might probably find fellow like-minded people. So if you find fellow like-minded people, you can find your probable co-founders in those hackathons. So I'm not sure if you know what hackathon is. So I'll just give a brief what exactly hackathons are. It's a 1 or 2 day event, sometimes in a 3 day event, wherein you're giving a problem statement. You form your team, and you're there at the venue all the time, and people work in teams to come up with solutions. So this is like a small exercise that you do when you are in your ideation phase, and you present it. So it's an amazing thing. So I would definitely suggest, as a student, if you want to develop that entrepreneurial spirit, participate in these startup competitions. Also, just keep coming up with ideas. Keep discussing it with people. A lot of times we feel that if I have an idea, I don't want to discuss it with people because they will steal my idea. Okay, so that doesn't work that way. Obviously, you should initially share it with someone who are very confident about, maybe your mentors, your faculty members, or you can share it with me. Maybe I can help out to, so that you can do, and have these clubs. It was a very nice. I missed the last part, but then I think sir started a club today, which is about
Drives, we call it as drives
yeah,
club.
the drive.
So
have such initiatives.
yeah, so I just took a compliment to your answer, that for all the students we will be doing all these activities, hackathon, everything we'll be doing. So at the nascent stage we are creating this. Now we have created this platform of drives, and under these drives, and very nice suggestion I got today, that we are going to have an innovation drop box also. We have a suggestion box in the college, but we will also have innovation drop box when you people come physically. So you can put your ideas there, and we will have a mentor system who will scrutinize your ideas. So that kind of ecosystem we are developing, and that is the purpose of this today's seminar, that how this thing goes, and Ruchi was deliberately kept at the end for two reasons. One is that you should not run away from the seminars till you listen the actual case study. And second important reason, that she is like you. She was a student 5, 6 years down the line, and now she has become or is on the path of entrepreneurship. So, and that's why you all should get inspiration from that. And that ecosystem we are creating. Don't worry, we will be doing a lot of things for you. Only what we are expecting that you should come up with that enthusiasm. Then otherwise things will not work in that right direction. Yeah, Ruchi, you can please.
Yeah. Yeah, I think where was I? I forgot.
You were talking about the same part actually, that what kind of platform.
So never shy away from these initiatives. You never know what you will find where.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe you think that your interest is in research, but then probably you do something else, and you see that okay, no, this research is not for me, but then something else is for me. Or it could be vice versa. Maybe you want to go for MPharm, but or maybe you want to go for an MBA, but then you maybe undertake one research project and you realize, okay, this research project I really like doing it. So you might end up doing MPharm. So just try out everything. I did that. I personally did that. So I've been a student. So we had organized a lot of uh, seminars and a lot of competitions. I used to participate in a lot of them. I used to participate in a lot of poster making competitions. Whatever I saw, I used to. So never shy away from all these things. And in fact, so there was this one time when I went out of Bombay to Chennai for IPC. I regret not going more often. So I wish I had done it more. I feel I have already done more because my mother used to keep telling me you're just doing something or else where you never study. But then I wish I had at least gone out of Bombay more often, not just once to IPC. So if whenever you get the chance to go out of Bombay, go out of your city or state, please do that. Please do that. Never miss a chance to meet people. Never ever do that. Never miss a chance to meet people. So that way you will see the actual world and you will figure out. So I always used to feel, so I don't know if you all know, but right now I'm based out of Delhi. So I always used to feel that there's no world outside Bombay. Bombay is the best place to be. No doubt about that. I still love Bombay. It's an amazing place. It's a very nice place. But then if had I been very rigid that I'm not going to move out of Bombay, I'll just stay there. Maybe because my parents are there, or maybe because I'm born and brought up there, my friends are there. I don't think so. I would have ever been able to look at so many things, achieve so many things, or get that exposure. So I would suggest that move out of your home. Your parents will hate me for this, but then move out of your home, explore, go to places, maybe take up masters in some other state, other city, other country, but then explore. That's how you will know what exactly you like. Yeah. Yeah.
Any other question, Kruti?
Sir, question from Sakshi. Can we apply as an intern at your company, or are there any companies who take interns who are in second year? Like
Actually, you can definitely apply, but then if you want to work in R&D, you'll have to come to Delhi. We don't, but then if you want something like market research, or if you want to know something, so we have a lot of other things as well, which could be done remotely. If you want something that sort of, you can.
So, Ruchi, I have a proposal since this is being discussed, So if you have some requirement, regarding interns for where people can work digitally or virtually, kind of thing. So please, you can come up with certain proposal to me, and then I will request our students, and it will be a win-win situation for the students as well as for yourself, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And you can connect us with others also. If anybody else any other incubator or startup founder at your place, if they are in need, let us get connected.
Definitely, I'll do that.
Yeah, Kriti.
Yes, sir. Chahat asks, what made you choose masters over MBA?
Stipend. To be very frank, stipend, nothing else.
Yeah.
Stipend. That's the most straightforward answer. That's it. Like I mentioned, there was both the options were available. So and doing masters was probably more in the comfort zone because I qualified GPAT. I would get stipend. I would be close to home, and I could be in the same institute. I could get the guide who I was comfortable with. So it was just about comfort zone and stipend. Stipend initially, later on the other things. But then I think I'm happy about it, because if I would have not done master, I would have not applied for that grant, not gone to Bhubaneswar, and not been exposed to all these the world of startups. So yeah, there was no other reason.
Yeah, Nandita, anything you have to ask? I'm seeing Nandita's video is on. Majority of you have closed down your videos, but Nandita and one or two persons have their on their videos and they're listening. So anything, Nandita?
No, sir. I asked.
So
Okay.
Sakshi also asked that, are there any other companies who will hire second year students? So I would say that don't worry. It doesn't matter you're in first year, second year, you're not, you don't have any degree. If you apply to startups or companies, big companies, I'm pretty unsure. But then startups definitely do require manpower, and nothing is better than free manpower for startups. But then you will get a lot of exposure. So look across, there are certain, maybe I'll share it with, there are certain platforms wherein you can look across what startups are in India and what work they are doing, and you can connect with them on LinkedIn or that FS6. There's this one platform. You can connect with them there, and they will definitely be more than willing to, happy to let you help them or contribute to the organization.
So this V is specifically for women only, right?
Yeah. We stand for women entrepreneurship and I don't know.
Empowerment, I think something like that. Yeah.
Empowerment and yeah, empowerment. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
students,
that is very
girls.
specific for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So girls students should take the benefit of this. Any website you would like to suggest us? I mean, for this V program, what is the website for that?
If you type V Foundation,
You get it. Achha, V Foundation. Okay.
Or I'll quickly share the link if you want.
No, we will do it. Don't worry. We Foundation will do it. Yeah. Any question meanwhile? Kriti, any question meanwhile?
In case if anyone wants any reference for this V Foundation, so probably for students, they might not, because they have the specific number of, they get funds from DBT and other places to run this program. So they have specific number of entrepreneurs that they can incorporate. So for my intern, she was not formally a part of that program, but then she could access all the things, like all the lectures and all the resources of that program. So if you all want that type of reference, I can talk to, this is Dr. Sarandeep Singh, who heads that program, and he conducts almost 70% of the sessions are conducted by him. So maybe I can connect with you, and if you really want to attend that program.
Please
do that. Wait for this year. Let it go. Now it's going on online, I'm sure. So wait till it goes back offline so that you can actually go and meet people there. So that will be a nice thing.
One last question is from Himanshi. She says, if we have an idea of startup, then how can we share it with the ones to whom we can trust that they won't share the idea and mentor me?
Okay. One thing is, make sure that whoever you're sharing with, you're sure that they are going to value add something to it. Okay. Also, there is this one thing you need to be sure that whatever you're sharing, don't share any confidential information. So I told you that we are developing a transdermal technology which is delivering micronutrient. I did not tell you how we are delivering. Neither did I tell you which micronutrient. I did not tell you what components or what excipients we are using. So just give that much information, which is, so say for example, if I want to share about Ola is my idea. So I'll just ask, will you be interested in using a cab service which you can book from your phone and it will be available at your doorstep? I did not tell them how it will be available. So you're not giving out a lot of details, you're just giving out your basic idea. And also make sure that you're sharing it with someone who will value add to it. Because so if I want something about formulation, I'm going and asking it to some lay person, makes no sense. And obviously, if you're sharing your idea for the first time with anyone, you will definitely be sharing it with someone you know very close. So initially, initially I did share it with so Mani sir knows we had a faculty. I had a professor, Dr. Vivek Nalawade. Vivek sir, I used to share it with him. He used to guide me what to do, what not to do, whatever was in his capacity, and I was sure that he would never he would never breach my trust, and he's definitely not going to leak the idea to anyone. So I'm sure you will have such sort of people who you have immense trust and faith on, and you know that they will be able to guide you. So just go to those people, and that's it. Also, it is very important that I knew that Vivek sir does not want to start his own startup. So, so obviously, I'm not going to go and talk about this to some other startup co-founder who already has the resources or who wants to start something of his or her own. So you have to be careful about who you are choosing and make sure you choose someone who you have faith and trust in. Yeah.
So I just would like to add into this, So, I mean, Ruchi must have given you some practical answer to this question. I would give you a little bit theoretical answer to this question, and of course, it will take it to the practical. So this idea can always be shared with, that's why this ecosystem I was talking about, that there will be a process where these ideas can be brought in front on a particular platform, and where the brainstorming will happen. Okay, and then probably mentors will try to help you out, and then your idea will be registered. So as you are pharmacy students, second year B.Pharm students or first year students now, slowly will be exposed to regulations now. What is IPR? What are the regulatory compliances? What is trademark? How a company can be formulated? What is Section 8 company, etc., etc., etc. So immediately at this point of time, if I have to believe what Vijay Shivpuje sir told in the morning or in the first session, or maybe Mr. Asim also told, that just have an idea at least. As of now, do not just think about how I will share the idea and with whom I share the idea and what will happen if my idea is breached, or etc., etc. Don't think at this point of time. At least you come up with the idea, share with that appropriate forum. And when I say appropriate forum, it will include mentors, experts, faculties, etc., etc. Okay, and probably that will help you to take that idea, refine that idea slowly, steadily further, and then a stage will come where you will realize yourself that what to share and what not to share. Okay, so that is how this process will go naturally. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And when you talk about mentors, when you are in this ecosystem setup, so the incubator will have MOU or non-disclosure agreement with the mentors or whoever. So if sir is willing me to come on board, so I'll have a NDA, non-disclosure agreement with PY Patil School of Pharmacy. So whatever information I'm getting from there, I'm legally bound not to share with anyone or use it myself. So when you're in this ecosystem setup, you don't need to worry. But then when you're doing it on your personal capacity, then you have to take care of these things.
Right. Yeah, Kruti?
Yes, sir.
And plus, if it's at a little bit matured stage, you can definitely file for a patent or a provisional patent and then disclose things.
Right.
So for us, it happened that we generated data, we worked on it for a year, and then we had to give presentation for this Pfizer IIT program. Now we had given presentations initially earlier also for multiple other funding agencies, but then somehow we never reached the advanced stages or the last stage of it. But here we reached. So I remember we filed the provisional patent within 2 days, because we had to share a lot of information with them. Even though we had this non-disclosure agreement filed, but still we had this doubt that what if they would use it. And by the time we applied for this grant, we already had generated little bit of animal data which was positive. So it was even at a higher risk, because we were somewhere hopeful that this is going to work. Had it not worked out, or maybe it was just an idea, I would have just shared it. But then since we had already invested some money and almost a year to it, and a lot of blood and sweat in it for writing of proposals and grants and giving presentations traveling all across India, presenting it to multiple people, then we had to file a patent so that it is not misused. Yeah.
May I move on, sir?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, madam, for the talk on living the startup journey. It was very inspiring listening to you for the second time. I'm sure students will take inspiration from your journey. With this, we have come to an end of an incredible session. I request Miss Siley Pimple to propose a vote of thanks.
Hello everyone, I Miss Siley Pimpre is delighted to propose the vote of thanks for such a wonderful and enlightening session. I would like to thank our speakers for the day, Mr. Vijay Kumar Shivpuje sir, Director at Petlex Business Solutions, Mr. Asim Sayyed Shiraz sir, who is the Incubator Manager and Biodesign Engineer at Enipoya Technology, and Ms. Ruchi Singh ma'am, Founder and Director at Relicus Healthcare, for their wonderful guidance. I am thankful to our founder, Dr. D.Y. Patil sir, Honorable President, Dr. Vijay Patil sir, and Managing Trustee Shivani Patil ma'am for their constant guidance and motivation. I am thankful to our principal, Dr. Rakesh Somani sir, for his constant and overwhelming support throughout this webinar. I would like to thank all the teaching and the supporting staff for their help to carry on this webinar. I would like to thank my student friends who have worked hard for the conduction of this activity. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the entire audience without which this webinar would not have been a success. Thank you all.
I hereby conclude and declare the end of this webinar.
What about feedback forms? You have to announce it, no? You please announce it.
The link for the feedback form has been given in the chat box. Chaskar sir has added the link.
So all should fill the link, and I just appeal before we close. As we are starting with this Drives Club now, I want that those students who are interested into entrepreneurship, innovation, and wish to take this career in future, please be a member of this Drives Club. You know, extend your interest into that so that there is a long way to go for you people. Okay, thank you so much, Ruchi, for joining us, and I will be again calling you some other time with some more inputs from your side. Thank you, Mr. Asim. I think you are still there. I'm really happy that you are there. And thank you, Mr. Vijay also for that coordination. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pratip sir, for the entire coordination of the event.
Thank you sir for giving this opportunity and inviting us. Thank you. Thank you, Asim, for, I should thank him because I asked him to come and talk. So, Asim, thank you for accepting the invitation on behalf from me.
Thank you. Chalo, see you. Bye. Bye, everybody.